What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Astaire, joined today by Tyler Hicks and Chris Randone. Pretty good last night for us on the Run Pure team. Could have been better. We went 3-2. The one I really was upset about, Tyler, was the Heat over. That one should have got there. Yeah, you're not going to win every side. And, obviously we like home favorites a lot right now because we'll lay the 5, but we're not taking the +5. So we're playing more favorites than dogs right now. So, okay, that's going to happen. That game should have gone over. Should have been a 4-1 night, but I was happy with my Nuggets call and definitely happy. What was the first one we got? Oh, the Knicks. I mean, that was easy money, right? That game wasn't even entertaining.
We got the Jalen Duren double home pretty easily, too. We had that in the third quarter. That little stint where he couldn't put the little putback shot in and he just kept grabbing the rebound. I think he grabbed 3 rebounds on 3 shots real quick. It was like, that was perfect.
Yeah, so we had a pretty good night here on the bet side. But, Chris, you said you had a frustrating night in DFS. What happened to you when you were building your lineups last night?
Yeah, I think I just, had a little bit too much Oladipo. I mean, even though he had like 29 fantasy points, but Damian Lee was by far, he's going to be someone that's dead for me, I think, moving forward. I'm pretty sure he had, he took 2 shots or 3 shots. He scored 2 points. I had so much exposure to him. He was starting. I thought he was in a good spot. So just really kind of depleted my soul last night. I was also big on Morant and Jokic. I mean, they both had, 50 plus fantasy points, but I think
at that price tag, you need like 70 though, right?
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week. We definitely talked about it on the Friday show when I was really high on Westbrook, but point guards have just destroyed Denver, throughout this entire season. So I thought this was a smash spot for Morant. And to be honest with you, I didn't see Denver going in, especially with Jamal Murray out. I mean, they just destroyed the Grizzlies. So I was kind of shocked about that. It was just not competitive whatsoever.
You know what's funny about that game, Chris, is that they really only destroyed them in the first quarter. The second quarter, Memphis won, and the third quarter, Memphis won, but it was just slightly. And the Nuggets won the first quarter by like 18 or 20 points. I don't know exactly. I had it on, but I was like, yes, we're going to win, because I was on Denver. But really, they just fell behind, and it was just an insurmountable lead. Now, give credit to the Nuggets because there was a couple times the Grizzlies made runs. They cut it to 8, they cut it to 9, and the Nuggets would always respond. And that's where Jokic is so important because he just gets those easy shots, those high percentage shots, right? Those little floaters in the lane. And it just felt like, they didn't really have an answer for him there. And they're a pretty good defensive team at center, right? With Jackson and Adams. Just shows how good Jokic is. But, it was interesting how really that first quarter decided the game. And I was worried as a Denver backer that, hey, if Memphis gets a run, they could steal all this momentum. And it never happened. Let's jump in here. Tyler, you sent me this, and Clyde wants to talk about it real quick. I didn't think it was that big a deal, but you sent me Ayton and Bridges. I didn't see that, but you sent me Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton kind of going at it. That to me, that's just normal stuff that happens in the course of a sporting event. What was your takeaway, Tyler? Do you think that I'm like kind of underestimating it? Do you think it's a sign of some problems here in Phoenix?
I mean, I just think Ayton's going to turn into one of them players that can't keep his mouth shut. I mean, now he's got his money. He didn't want to be there, and they kind of just kept him there. And now they're losing games to the Wizards. He's putting up, 30 and 12, and they still can't pick up the win. At the end of the game, he's mouthing off to those guys. You've seen Biyombo try to calm him down, then he said something to him. So I think he's just going to become a little bit of a head case. And you said all these guys that were recently signed this past offseason have become eligible to be traded now. Didn't that just come past? I would
on the 15th, they've been eligible for 6 days.
I could see his name start to pop up here soon.
It really depends. I think Phoenix is going to have to take a real fall in the standings. Chris, did you see that? And did you have any opinion of what's going on there in Phoenix?
No, I didn't see that altercation, but I mean, I think it just shows how much Devin Booker means to this team. To be honest with you, it was like a 7-point spread last night, was it not?
It was more than that, wasn't it?
Once I think it closed at 7.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, once Porzingis was ruled out, I mean, I just thought this was, a smash spot for Ayton, which, I mean, he did do fairly well fantasy-wise, but the team is just, I don't know, all over the place. Without Booker, it's just not the same team whatsoever. So It's
You know, it's funny. We say without Booker, but really, I think it's really just the depleted depth at forward. Because if you look at them compared to last year, they're missing Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder. And we know this has become a league of wings. Your ideal lineup right now feels like to be like, one rim protector, 3 wings, and a ball handler. And just lacking that depth at wing. And then this West is just crowded. Tyler, I got to rub this one in on you. Do you see who's in first place in the West now?
Is it Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how long they hold that. What is there, like 3 games that separate 1 and 9 through that conference?
Yeah, because Portland's in 7th and they're 2.5 games back.
Yeah.
And Denver's also, I think, the 6th team to be in first place this year. Let's see if I can do it off the top of my head. Memphis, Denver, Utah, Portland, Phoenix, and New Orleans have all been at first place at some point in this season. So, it's so funny. For all this regular season doesn't matter stuff, this is a great regular season. I mean, like, you can watch these standings every day, and this is going to mean so much. I mean, it's the difference between being the play-in or having that game 7 at home in either the first or second round. So it's just funny how they say regular season doesn't matter, but in the West, where there's no real teams that are separating themselves, it's going to matter a lot. So we're going to see how that continues to go forward. One other news note I wanted to talk about, kind of in the same vein. Tyler, did you see the dissatisfaction with Zach LaVine on the Chicago Bulls? Supposedly there was an altercation at halftime when they gave up 150. And I saw a Bulls writer put out a nice little video where he just basically shows like LaVine's not there on his rotations. He's not, doing what he's supposed to do defensively. And his teammates are kind of getting sick of it. Another guy that's got the money, maybe now not being the best teammate. Tyler, did you see that? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I did see that. They said him and DeRozan had a sit-down one-on-one after that also. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talked about it before a couple of days ago, Spread, if that team was going to be able to go anywhere. We talked about the Vucevic trade being one of the worst trades. They thought that was going to be the one that pushed them to the top and get them into those contentions with the other team, but it never did. I think it's just time to blow it up. It looks like Lonzo's never coming back. If he does, I doubt he's the player he was before. Yeah. Trade LaVine now, get what you can get out of him. If you can deal DeRozan for something, do that also. Just get some picks in there and just start rebuilding in my eyes. Because I don't see a path for them to be really good with the roster they have.
Yeah, I don't
even think I could get on 2K right now and mix and match the pieces and somehow build a championship roster.
No. They have issues. And so the East and the West are different now. I think the East has got like the clear 3 best teams, right? Where the West, it feels
Who's
like
your third?
Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
They're only one game behind.
I was interested to see who you put in that 3 spot.
Yeah, I think they're 21-11. Off the top of my head, I think the Celtics are 22-9. I mean, they're pretty close. Off the top of my, I looked this morning or last night. I think the Bucks are 22-8, Celtics 22-9, 22-11 there for Cleveland. So they're not doing bad. What are your thoughts on the Bulls in the East in general, Chris?
No, I agree with Tyler. I mean, they should be making some moves here shortly. That roster is just not fit for like a roster that can actually win. So I mean, to be honest with you, I even think the Magic are a better roster than the Bulls at this point.
Wow.
And so, I mean, that's just what I've seen as far as a team and synergy standpoint. So, yeah. But I think Brooklyn is the 3rd best team in the East now, to be honest with you. I know Cleveland, is nice, especially with Mobley and Allen down there. But, and, obviously their guards are just unreal. But I will say, I think Brooklyn's starting to come into their own. And that can be very dangerous, especially for this East. So, can't rule out, one of the best players in the world either with Durant. So they look good. I mean, they're on a 6-game winning streak right now. I think they've won like 9 of their last 10. Yeah. And then the Knicks look really good as well. I mean, they've won their last 8. The Knicks just have like a lot of great players, especially like guards, right? Like I think Emmanuel Quickley is pretty solid off the bench. Like I would love him if I was a Knicks fan, just him coming off. He's got high energy, great defensively. He also can score. So Knicks look pretty solid. I mean, this East is starting to be, a lot more competitive, but at the bottom of it, yeah, Bulls are just not, they're just not for me. I really think that they're one of the worst teams in the league.
Tyler, you know what? Chris makes a good point. I've been overlooking the Nets. They've won 6 in a row.
That's why I was very interested when I asked you who was that 3rd team, because that was the one I was going to plug in also. They have the experience. I think KD's just the ace card in your back pocket. Right. If he just starts going nuclear, there's nothing Cleveland can do.
My bad. Let's make this a 4-team race
Yeah.
because that was an oversight on my part. Brooklyn's definitely alive, and we're going to talk about them here in a second. But let's talk about two of the top teams first. What a great way to start our night, Tyler. The Milwaukee Bucks are +2 in Cleveland, taking on the Cavaliers. The total is 217.5. I mean, this game means a lot in the standings, and I think it also means a lot for the pride and just setting things right for both teams. Milwaukee's got something to prove after not making the finals last year, and Cleveland's still trying to really establish that they're a top contender in the East. So it's so funny, you know, a team like Boston, Golden State, maybe they're taking a little too far, right? But the teams that have a previous success, they can kind of coast the regular season. When it's your first time to the top and you're establishing, you know, kind of like Memphis last year, I feel like the regular season means more, and I feel that Cleveland's at that spot right now. What are your thoughts on this game, Tyler, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, what? These teams have matched up twice already this year they played?
Yeah.
I think
Cleveland,
so.
And Cleveland got them both times?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to get them a third time at home here. I mean, they've dominated home court. They're 11-1 straight up in their last 12 at home.
Okay.
I know the Bucks have been playing better, but Middleton looks like he's going to miss this game. I think when these two teams finally clash, and it's going to look like where the Milwaukee can finally beat them, is once they're fully healthy. I just think these bigs give Giannis a little bit of a problem inside. I know it's Giannis. He's going to get his. When you have two guys down there that could just reach around and block a shot, makes it a little tougher. So I don't mind his 5.5 assists at plus money. And the other one I like is Lopez over 1.5 threes for props here, because I think Allen stays in the paint. He's going to let him fly from three, and he lit them up from three before. So
the chat's saying that Milwaukee won both.
Okay,
those
maybe
games.
I have those.
Gator Nation and our guy Clyde.
Yeah, Milwaukee crushed.
Yeah, 117, 102, and he had 113, 198. Okay, so I just had those flipped. So yeah, I think it's Cleveland here though at home, defending home court well. Milwaukee's played worse on the road. Give me the Cavs here.
Yeah, projections like Cleveland, but boy, Tyler, I'm scared to go against Milwaukee after what happened against the Pelicans. I swear, I felt just when I was watching the beginning of that game, I said the Pelicans are good, but
did you see how they played that game? The reason why Joe Bell went off that game is because they put Drew Holiday on Zion when he was outside of the paint,
which was an interesting idea.
But then they lined up Giannis and Brook on the inside and left the corners wide open. So that's why Joe Bell shot all them open threes. They sold out everything to stop their best player. They didn't have an answer for that. Now, when Ingram's back, I think that's where you kind of can't do that. But with the way the Pelicans were set up that game, they were just able to box them in, and then Zion wasn't able to do anything. So I don't see a path for them to do that with the Cavs. What are you going to do that to Mitchell? You leave the corners open. Garland's going to be one of those guys in the corners. He could shoot threes. The big man will eat you up too. So I just think the Cavs have the better setup here.
All right. Tyler likes the Cavaliers. My projections like the Cavs, but I'm scared to go against the Bucks. Chris, if you've been watching, they've been one of my favorite teams really since Giannis's emergence as arguably the best player in the NBA. What are your thoughts on this game from the side? The total's 217.5, and then of course give us a DFS breakdown.
I mean, projection-wise, it leans towards Cleveland. So, but I'm in kind of the same situation as you. It's hard for me to want to go against Milwaukee right now, especially Giannis. I mean, they've won 7 of their last 10. They've gotten the first 2 games against Cleveland. Middleton didn't play either one of those games either, so I don't know if that much is a factor. Obviously, we know Drew Holiday has tremendous defense, so that, you know, gives Garland a little bit of difficulty, or if he's on Mitchell, depending upon, you know, the ball handling. But you know, for me, from a betting standpoint, I actually would go Cleveland here. They project much better than Milwaukee, especially from a DFS perspective as well. Not much ownership going to this game, essentially. You know, it is one of the lower totals at 217. I think these two will play tough. You know, they've already played twice, and so I think Cleveland's probably learned a couple things. I'm sure there'll be some adjustments. How they play tonight, you know, I think you really have to focus on Mobley. I think, you know, Kevin Love plays a factor too in this, coming off the bench. If he can get going, I think that could bring trouble to the, you know, the second unit. So I would take Cleveland from a betting perspective. And then as far as the DFS perspective, I'm not sure I'm looking anywhere outside of maybe Mobley. His price is, you know, 6,900, but he does project well tonight. This is a good spot for him essentially. And, you know, for me, outside of him, I think I would maybe look at Kevin Love because he is dual eligible. He's 3,800. if he can get double-digit shots up and if he can, knock down some threes, the rebounds will be there essentially in the small amount of time that he'll play. So, he's projected for about 21 and a half points, which is relatively good for his salary. So this is just like a guy that if you're, playing a lot of entries and you need a low price guy, maybe to fit in that forward or power forward slot, don't mind him whatsoever. But outside of that, I think that's pretty much it for me.
All right, Tyler, any more thoughts on this game before we move on?
What were your thoughts on the total? I kind of lean under here. I think we could get a nice defensive game. So even that total sitting where it's at, I like the under.
I hate playing unders right now. I mean,
yeah, because they all go over.
I know the Heat game went under last night and we lost, but I mean, it's just like the scoring is so high. Let me pull up the projections again. What did I project it at, Tyler? Do you have it up?
220, 4 points over.
Yeah, I'm fine staying away from that total.
Yeah.
But I understand your thoughts. I mean, these games can't stay over forever. And you have a good point. The more that we get a playoff atmosphere, the more likely we are to go under. So I'm fine staying away from that total. Interested to see how the Cavs do. The next game not as exciting, but maybe we can find an edge. The Detroit Pistons are plus 12 in Philadelphia, taking on the six sisters. Philadelphia 76ers. Total of 223.5. A pretty big spread here for a Detroit team that's been hanging tough, Tyler. I have too many windows open. Where are the freaking projections? I'm going to find that. Tyler, you break it down.
Projections got it falling like right on that spread.
That's what I thought. I remember.
Yeah, so I'm not going to play a minus 11.5 with a Philly team that just gives us problems anytime we bet them.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to take Detroit because they weren't able to keep up with the Jazz last night. Now they're on a back-to-back. I think the only way I'm approaching this is right back to the performance doubles. Harden to get a double-double and win, or Embiid to get a double-double and win. They're both priced at minus 110. Throws all those 11 points out the window, and they could win the game by 1, or they could win the game by 35. So that's my approach to this one.
All right. What do you think there, Chris?
Yeah, I don't like doing like double-digit spreads in NBA. And I've talked about how before, Detroit does play kind of pesky at times. They did, obviously they weren't able to hang with the Jazz last night. But I mean, prior to that, they only lost by 3 to the Nets, single digits with the Kings, beat the Hornets, single digits with the Lakers. Same thing with the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, they beat the Heat. So, something would tell me that maybe this is like an 8 or 9 point game essentially at the end of the game. And, for me, that's kind of scary from a betting perspective. So I think I'm going to shy away from it. They've just been pesky. And, if that's the case, it doesn't really give me confidence, except for the fact that, yeah, it's on a back-to-back. And that probably, gives a kind of a little bit of upper hand to the 76ers being fully rested and things of that nature. But from a DFS perspective, when you're looking at this game, you might want to look at Jaden Ivey. He was hot last night, played great, got an extended run as well, and still kind of played even late into the game where, they were down. So he's 4,800. He's dual eligible on DraftKings for point guard and shooting guard eligibility. He is getting looked at a little bit by the public early on, but his price point's very cheap. It's actually cheaper than it was last night. Last night it was $5K. Tonight it's 4,800. He is projected for about 26 to 27 fantasy points. So he could easily have a 30-point game, no doubt about it. So just something to kind of keep into consideration, especially if Killian Hayes just doesn't have another good night like last night. So, and then if Alec Burks isn't making his shots off the bench, he won't get extended run or playing time. So just something to keep into consideration. But
what are your thoughts overall on Killian Hayes? I really thought he was going to be a bust. He's been playing well lately. Do you think it's real or?
I think positive regression is due for sure. He's had quite a few games where he's, taken 17, 19 shots, efficient from the floor. I've seen a couple games where he's, gone 4 of 6, 5-11 from 3. But the biggest thing is he's just kind of doing it all outside of scoring. He's had some really good games as far as assists. He's had like a 9 assist game, a 12, 8. So he's facilitating. The thing is that, his minutes are not guaranteed, right? So, he could have a 22-minute game, a 19-minute game like we've seen, or, he can be kept in there for 30-plus minutes. It really just all depends. But he's volatile at the end of the day. Do I think this is a place where I want to pay $6,000 for him? Absolutely not. I'd rather go to Jaden Ivey, save the 1,200, and kind of look there. And outside of that, I think you can consider Harden and Embiid for sure. Guys will be single-digit low owned. Obviously, they have tremendous upside. Harden's price now is in the 10K range, so you now have to make a decision. And 11.5K for Embiid is pretty steep regardless. So you're going to need that 70-point game from him in order for him to pay off. But outside of that, that's pretty much it for me from a DFS standpoint.
I think your point on Embiid leads right into this question in the chat from DFS Shockwave. Do you think the balance build is better tonight, Chris, or do you see yourself going more stars and scrubs at this early look?
Oof. It's a little early to determine that because I think when we look at it from a macro perspective, it's looking like a lot of Golden State Warriors and LA Lakers are at the top as far as kind of what people are wanting so far. And, there is somewhat value there, in regards to that. But, these are decisions where tonight is interesting because there's not a lot of like 3K or, even like very low 4K people that right now, that show promise in regards to being in an optimal lineup. So it's looking like people are liking Pukveski from OKC, Thomas Bryant, who now his price is 5,300. And as you know, as that continues to creep up, it just makes it harder for them to get there. And if you're with 50-60% of the field and they're on him, that could be a decision that you want to make to kind of go against. So, but I mean, yeah, people are looking at like Nick Richards right now, Jalen Williams, and, these guys are all, 4K, but they, it's not your typical night. So I think tonight will be a big decision if people want to go James Wiseman at 3K. That'll be something that'll be interesting and seeing what people gravitate to. So it's a little too early. We need some injuries. We need some reports. And then I think we can make a decision if we want to start paying up for some studs, like an Embiid, if he's low price, high upside type of play.
I think if you play Embiid tonight, like if you feel comfortable and that's your guy tonight, I think you just bet Detroit. Because any of his big games this year have come where the teams have kept the game close. If Philly blows him out, there's no way he's getting those 70 fantasy points. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Yeah.
So that I think it's if you're playing them, you just go bet Detroit plus the 11.5, and you might have them score you 80 fantasy points and cash that bet on top of that. So that's one way to come at that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a great point there, Tyler. Do you have anything more on this game, or did you want to move on?
Nope, that was pretty much it.
All right, let's talk. It's a big spread here, Tyler. The Indiana Pacers, who really haven't been that bad this year, are plus 10 in Boston, taking on the Celtics. What do I have here? Where is this game? I have it at 10. Clyde's going to love that.
It's in Boston.
Yeah, Clyde's going to love that. I have the game at 10. I do have a edge to the over. The game's at 233. What are your thoughts, Tyler?
Yeah, probably not going to play the side or the total in this one just because 233 in a Pacers game probably want to lean over. But having Boston on the other side is a little scary because they could just lock down the Pacers at any moment. And 10 with the Boston team where I know it was just the Magic kind of giving them troubles, but they've lost a couple games here. Don't really want to get in on them at a double digits. Tatum at 3.5 threes, though, at plus 130. I love that play here with a total of 233. I don't see anybody really on the floor that's going to be able to guard him. He's going to chuck up a ton of threes. That 3.5 at plus money is going to be my best bet in this game.
So you're telling me don't play the over here?
I said I don't hate it. My worry, though, is like if Boston decides they're playing defense today, they could lock this Pacers team down.
They haven't played a lot of defense this year. And I don't see we the people in the chat, we disagree on certain things. Obviously, I believe defense is more important than him. But when it comes to totals, we are looking at pace more than defense. And even though Boston does play good individual defense still, this pace is really high. You see these guys getting shots up with 14 seconds on the shot clock, plenty. They have multiple guys that will grab and go, rebound, push the pace. High pace game, and I think Indiana can match it. My favorite look on there is the over. Tyler, we'll talk after the show, see if that ends up getting an RPB tag. That's really the only thing I'm considering. I'm fine staying away. I really thought my projections were going to tell me to take Indiana. I'm surprised. I'm surprised there, but hey, that's why we run these projections, right, Tyler? Because we're not able to watch every game. We're not able to keep up on everything, right? Celtics are struggling right now, 1-4 over the last 5, as our guy Clyde's saying. Chris, what are your thoughts here? Originally, I was tempted by the Pacers. My numbers are telling me to stay off. What do you think?
Boston guys grayed out well tonight in comparison to Indiana. I will say, though, the Marcus Smart injury could bode well for Indiana. to maybe kind of stay close here.
And for the over.
and for the over.
You lose the defender and you lose the guy that just chucks at like 32% from three.
Yeah, I think, Smart out, I think, gives a big bump to Halliburton. But also, too, I think on the contrary, Malcolm Brogdon, who's already getting looked at a little bit, 5,100 eligible on DraftKings. I think he gets a bump as well. I don't know too much about, kind of still trying to go to the well with Derek White. He's just not been efficient, nor does he really get, the opportunity to have that upside. So he is more likely to have just a really low floor in comparison to maybe getting there. Even though at 3,900, it's just, I just don't think that that's for me. But yeah, I think I like Halliburton, 9,600, he grades out very well, especially if Smart is out. And if that's the case, then I don't mind taking Indiana with the points plus 10. To be honest with you, I think that they could hang here. I think the pace will be higher pace game. And so for me, yeah, I think I don't like the double digit points, laying it as a favorite. So I think I would probably go and lean Indiana in that situation. And then you have your guys Brown and Tatum if you want to pay for them, of course. But that's just kind of the usual thing with Boston.
All right. Tyler, we're going to get messages from Mangone if we don't mention Malcolm Brogdon revenge game. Uh-oh.
Oh, I was just thinking that, but I was thinking it's more so like if it's at Indiana, it's more of a revenge game to me.
Yeah, I mean, is he really going to feel shafted? I mean, they sent him to a great opportunity, right? I mean, it's not.
He really didn't even play all that much for the Pacers when he was even there either.
Well, he was hurt the whole time.
Like,
I think they were.
Yeah, he left Milwaukee, ended up in Indiana, and just kind of hung out for a while. Played like 4 games, and they said, "All right, here you go. You can go to Boston." So I'd say more his revenge game's probably Milwaukee.
Yeah, because they're the ones that didn't want to re-sign him, and they made a bad choice. Who did they choose over him? Oh, it was bad. Yeah, it was Eric Bledsoe. Great call there, Tyler. Great call. All right, anything more on the Pacers and the Celtics, guys?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it for that one too.
Well,
let's talk about the Bulls playing the Hawks, Tyler. We talked about the Bulls at the start. They had that issue. It all came out, but did they solve it? They looked pretty good against the Miami Heat last night. Now, to be fair, we gave out the Heat on the show. Then the Heat players were ruled out. Guy in the chat in the Discord said, "Hey, are you still worried?" And I said, "Hey, supercharged subtraction. I'll stick with my play. I'm not going to buy out here." Doesn't always work though, right? It's not 100% trend there. And it didn't work last night as the Heat looked kind of lifeless against that Chicago Bulls defense. So I don't know if I really put it on the Bulls defense, but you have to feel that they're feeling better about themselves. They have to feel that, regardless of whether or not the players were out, that they kind of addressed that issue and that they're moving in the right direction. Now they face an Atlanta Hawks team that's also been dealing with their own turmoil. And we tried to fade that turmoil the other night, Tyler. And I don't think it worked for us, if I remember right. Now the Hawks are laying 6 at home. My projections tell me to take the Bulls. What do you think, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm actually on the other side of you here. I'm going to fade the projections.
I'm not married to these projections either. I don't love Chicago. We don't like Chicago.
Back-to-back for me for Chicago. I don't like that spot. I know it's a back-to-back for Atlanta too, I believe, but they have the deeper bench. Like Bogdanovich can come off the bench and light Chicago up, and that could be the difference maker in this game. So I probably won't take the 6.5. His performance double on FanDuel, 5+ threes, and Atlanta wins at plus 500. I think that's definitely worth a shot because the dude absolutely chucks threes. If he gets hot from 3, he's going to hit those 5. And if he hits those 5, he's probably pushing them to a victory. So that's my way of approaching this game. But outside of that, I don't think I'm playing much else here.
Yeah, I mean, this is why, you don't get married to the projections, and that's why we do watch all the games. And it's not just, they're kind of more like a guide or a roadmap, right? But it's like when I go hiking, right? I got the trails, but hey, if I want to go off the trail or not follow it, I don't need to. So even though the projections tell me to take the Bulls, I'll bet you will end up throwing a lean and not an RPB tag on that one. Chris, high total here, 235.5. What are your thoughts on betting this game and how you approach it for DFS?
Yeah, I like the over for this game, 236. I just think with Atlanta, the way that they're playing, they're just putting up a ton of points. And I think with that, you're going to need that to come out of Chicago as well. So think just a ton of shots, and what that leads into is a pretty good spot for DFS perspective. I think Vooch, Levine, DeRozan, any of these guys, if you want to rotate into your lineups, I don't mind that. And then on the contrary, Tyler's right. Like Bodon, he's 6,500, but I mean, he's going to put up a ton of shots. He's dual eligible. He grades out well as well. So, that's a guy that you have to have into consideration. And then, Dejounte Murray, he's 8,600. But this is interesting, right? He's dual eligible. The last game, he took up 18 shots, coming off that previous injury against the Knicks. I think really just, he has that upside, though, just like he did the previous 3 games before that Knicks game, to easily have 45, a 50-point, type of night in regards to fantasy. So, yeah, for me, I do like him. He's going to be very low owned. The only thing is if he's going to play 36, 38 minutes, especially at that price point and projection, I think he's someone you have to consider. And then Trae Young, he doesn't grade out the best for his price at 10.2K. But I mean, if you want him and you think that this game does go over and this game's just back and forth and a ton of shots, you would have to think that Trae Young somewhat gets there. So I don't mind it. I think all those guys that I just mentioned are definitely into consideration. I don't think I'm going to be as high on like Caruso and Hunter and especially Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams is more so just like in there for defensive purposes. He's not a guy that, is kind of, someone that you go to in regards to scoring. So for me, I just don't think that that's a place that I want to go. Some people will, though, because of his price point. But he was another guy that I was big on last night on a shorter slate against Miami. It was, him or Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson, outscored him by a ton. So that's kind of where I'm at. From a betting standpoint, it's tough to say because did Chicago kind of get it together last night? Big win going into Miami. However, Jimmy Butler didn't play. So, like, how much of a big of a win is that? Right. Traveling up to Atlanta tonight. I think Atlanta wins here, to be honest with you. They're almost at full strength. Without Capella, that's pretty much it. But I think John Collins is in a great spot. If he could Bam kind of crushed them last night down low. So, and we kind of know how Vucevic plays defense. So don't mind John Collins either if you want to go there at 5,700. But yeah, I think Atlanta wins tonight. I don't mind the 6-point spread. I think Chicago, I haven't seen enough yet.
Yeah, I mean, I
feel about a plus 330 on a John Collins double here. I think that's a nice price.
Man, that's actually, yeah. I wish I could bet. We don't have that in Cali, so I can't.
Oh, they don't even have that on some of the offshore books. You can't get double.
He's not offshore. That's why he's using that. He's using the paperhead skins.
I gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't mind that plus 330 for a double. I mean, that's we saw what Bam did last night. I mean, even Highsmith as well. Highsmith had a great game. So I think for the big men, I think he's going to have to play a little bit more too because of Vooch. Vooch is going to be in there a lot. So I think I'm not worried about Okongwu kind of stealing minutes from him. Hunter's going to play the 4 tonight. So I could see sometimes Collins and Okongwu being on the floor together if they do kind of stay big. So don't mind it whatsoever.
All right. Anything more from this one, Tyler?
No, that was it. That was the last play I had in that one.
All right. This one should be fun, but not really. It was fun when they made the schedule. The Golden State Warriors face their old teammate Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets. Oh, this is going to be great, but it's not because Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry are both out for the Warriors.
Clay's out too.
Does it even matter at this point? Like, let's be serious. I know he had a couple nice games in the finals, but really, he's not a good defender anymore. I mean, really, he's light-skinned Buddy Hield.
And let's be honest. Would it surprise anybody who's sitting here right now if the Warriors sat the rest of their guys tonight? It's the perfect spot for them to do it. Yeah. Everyone's going to want to watch them play the Nets and play KD, and they go, here, Draymond, you sit down too. We're sending out the scrub squad.
At what point do they stop punting on games, though? I mean, what are they, 15 and 18 now?
But again, we talked about the Western Conference being separated by 3 games? They're in that bunch. All they need is a couple game winning streak, and now they're pushed back towards the top. So
I guess at one point, just waiting to turn it on.
I feel like they're going to do some kind of stuff at the trade deadline, and that's where they try to flick the switches from there.
I wonder if they are. There was an interesting, obviously, I'm more plugged in to the Warriors, but on their, like on League Pass, you could watch their local stations, NBC Sports Network or whatever. and I think his name's Monty Poole. He used to write for the Oakland Tribune, and of course they have like a pretty girl talking to him. And he was saying that Steph has a lot of loyalty towards Dre and Clay, whereas the right move might be to move off them, try and get a different piece and rebuild. But you would need Steph's approval for that type of move, and they just don't think he'll make it. They just think that he's too loyal.
I don't think they move the big contracts. I think they move a couple of them other pieces, the younger guys.
Why would they do that though?
Because I think they can get one more championship. I know it's the Warriors. They think they're going to stretch this out, but you're looking at it like
they'd be selling low on all those players right now.
I understand.
What are you really going to get from Moses Moody? Like really?
If you could find some team that thinks they can morph him into something, maybe you can get some just for instance. I'm not saying this is a trade. You got disgruntled Zach LaVine in Chicago. You call him up. This guy wants out. It's like, all right, we'll give you a couple young guys in a draft pick. And they go, okay, just get this guy away from us. He ends up in Golden State. Now they have an extra piece, another piece of firepower. So it's like they'll find some way.
Do you even think Zach LaVine fits in on that team?
No, I was just saying, for instance, like that guy. I was just throwing a guy that's disgruntled in there. So
okay.
Somebody else will pop up that's not happy. Like what if Golden State called Minnesota? They're like, hey, your one big thing is working now. Give us the one that's hurt. Give us Cat, and we'll give you a couple young guys and some picks since you have them.
If they get rid of Cat, they're going to want the haul like they got for Gobert, though. They're going to want like 4
they got shysted
picks
into that trade. They might get shysted into another one.
I just don't see it. I think they run it out and do terrible again this year. I think it might be, like they did 2020 when they ended up with the Wiseman pick or whatever year that was. It was 2 years ago, right? Anyways, we don't know where they're going with it, but
the Warriors are in the tank for Victor now. They said, screw the championship. We're getting the 7'6" French kid.
Can you imagine that? He gets taller every week. And no, we the people, we have not talked about defense here, but defense wins championships. Chris, what are your thoughts here on the Warriors and the Nets? Plus 12, man. We talked about it. I guess maybe if they play the baby Warriors and this line gets even higher, I like taking the baby Warriors, but it would have to be like plus 14, right? With everybody sitting here. Even then, I wonder if KD just wants to put it on him, right? And he's like telling Jacques Vaughn, like, don't pull me with 6 minutes to go, because he just wants to just bury this team. Interesting dynamics in play here. I think it's pretty easy to cross this game off the betting slate, but we can't ignore it from a DFS perspective, or can we? Do we just cross it off because of the blowout potential?
No, I think, from a betting perspective, I mean, it's tough because if you think Brooklyn just crushes them here, especially at full strength compared to Golden State, like really how much can they keep this, as far as competitive, especially, in the second half. So, but, guys do grade out tonight. I think Nick Claxton is in a really good spot. 6K, he's got a 31.5 projection tonight. Not really going to be looked at from the general public, but he's in a good spot here. For me personally, he's going to play his 25, 26 minutes, but has double upside. And if he's efficient at the rim, I don't mind it either. He without Draymond, I think it also gives him a little bit of a bump as well, just because it's just a little bit less claustrophobic down there. But outside of that, though, Jordan Poole, I think you have to consider, right? Especially if no one is playing, he's just going to put up a ton of shots. It's not the worst matchup for him, but if he's going to shoot 20 plus shots, man, and, at least, do some form of facilitation with the rock, he could definitely get there. So he grades out pretty well. Kyrie's still under 9K. You can consider him. And then I talked about it earlier, though, but he got 22 minutes last night. They're probably going to run him out again, especially if Draymond, let's just say they decide to sit everyone. Wiseman, 20 minutes maybe at 3K. I could see people starting to maybe look at him as a value play. And then your casual guy, Kuminga, who I don't mind at times, but just the question is now he's 5K, right? He's not, he's not in the 3K range that he once was, where he did have a couple good games. He has to work hard to get there now, right? He hasn't taken double-digit shots in over 3 games. That concerns me. Not doing much on the boards either. So, what really can you get out of Kuminga? And that's kind of just the question mark here. But he's going to garner a lot of ownership, unfortunately. So you're going to have to make that decision. Do you want to ride with the public? He's dual eligible, or do you want to think that there's other options out there on this slate that, can give you an edge or you can pivot to. So I think that's kind of like the overall perspective from this game from a DFS standpoint.
All right. Interesting there. Who would you rather spend up for tonight, KD or Embiid?
I'd probably go KD. He's cheaper. He's 10.5K. I would want to get the salary
and the little narrative angle, right? I mean, I know it seems stupid and simple, but I think in the NBA this stuff matters.
I got to bet you'll love for that narrative then.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the narrative whatsoever. Absolutely. And plus, we talked about it. Brooklyn's hot.
Yeah. You take those 12 points away spread and you look at KD's recent games, 43 points, 28, 30, 34, 29, 31. KD to score 30 and they win right here, plus 160. I think that's the best bet in this game.
Oh, wait, say that again?
His recent games, he scored 43, 28, 30, 34, 29, 31. Him to score 30 in this matchup tonight and they win the game is plus 160. I think that's the bet here.
I love that bet. I'm wondering what I get on Bet Online for that. I'll bet you it's like minus 110.
You're going to have like minus 160.
Yeah, I know.
I will say, in this winning streak, the games have been close, and outside of that, I think they've had like one game since like over the last month where they won by double digits, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that was Portland. And outside of that, I think Toronto as well, if we're dating back to like just over a month ago. So, the games have been close. So what does that mean? Like, that means that they can definitely get there from a fantasy perspective and a scoring perspective. So, and if they do just somehow, they got killed by the Knicks last night, man. Like, do you really come out and get crushed again? Or do you at least make it somewhat competitive? And does Brooklyn kind of, allow that to take place? And if so, then guys will get there tonight, especially at these price points. So it's something to keep into consideration.
All right, I got Chief Drip 23. He says the Nets are going to smoke the Warriors. So, and if so, I mean, it could definitely happen. It's so funny. I mean, I'm sure that when they put this game on the schedule, they just thought, we'd all be tuning in and loving it. I believe it's the TNT game, right? No, they don't have TNT tonight. It's NBA TV tonight. Because ESPN has bowl games. All right, let's move on. Toronto Raptors are plus 1.5 facing those New York Knicks. Tyler, is this a letdown spot for the Knicks?
Oh, yeah, it is.
I mean, I know the Warriors suck this year, but I still think it means a lot for these teams to beat the defending champions. They were on national TV. They get Chuck and Shaq to talk about them at halftime, right, and talk about how great they are. They've now won 8 in a row, if I'm right, after that win last night. So they're going their 9th in a row. A Toronto team. Did you see this quote by Embiid? We the people's going to love this.
I didn't. What was it?
He goes, Embiid says, I don't even think Toronto wants to win games. They just worry about stopping the other team's best player. Well, isn't that how you would win a game? Like doesn't Bill Belichick do that too? Hey, let's stop the other team's best player. That will give us a better chance to win. Talk about a lack of awareness there. So I don't even know what that quote meant. Hopefully that was just taken out of context and went viral on Twitter. And it really made more sense. But it didn't make sense to me from what I saw. It was featured, I think, in the Athletics. So interesting spot there by Embiid. The Raptors will try and take away the Knicks' best player. Is that Julius Randle? Is it Jalen Brunson? What do you think, Tyler? Can the Knicks do it again?
I don't think so. Give me the Raptors in this spot. I just think Knicks are on a win streak. The Raptors get OG back in this game. Now they're at full strength. I think it's a perfect matchup for them to roll into Madison Square Garden. Masai Ujiri was supposed to also take over this Knicks team. Remember that spread? That never occurred. So I just think it's a perfect spot. Toronto.
I don't think there's a GM revenge game, Mike. We'll ask Travis about that. There's no GM revenge.
It's just he wanted the job. It's like, yeah, you call it down. It's like, we're going to make sure we win this game. Like, call Nick Nurse. Like, make sure the rotations are even tighter than they're used to. Let's make sure we pound this team into the ground and end this win streak. So I'm on the Raptors here. I think Siakam has a big game. His double-double and win at plus 350 is going to be my best bet.
All right. Tyler's taking a stand against his favorite team. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I like the Knicks here. They grade out very well. They didn't play an entire game last night, because of the blowout. So I'm not worried about a back-to-back. I just like a lot of pieces from this Knicks team. And also, they look great right now. They're hot. And I'm going to continue to ride that wave. And also, too, Toronto doesn't grade out very well either, which is very concerning to me in comparison to the Knicks. So, give me the Knicks here from a betting perspective. I'm going to continue to ride this streak with them. And then outside of that, I think you should definitely kind of look at Jalen Brunson. I mean, even Randall, RJ Barrett, these guys grade out very well. And also their point per dollar projections look very strong, even in comparison to Toronto. Toronto just doesn't look good from a DFS perspective. So yeah, give me the Knicks here and just in all aspects, both betting and DFS.
All right, so we're opposite here. Tyler likes the Raptors. Chris likes the Knicks. Anything more from this game, Tyler?
No, that's it for me on that one.
All right. Interesting. I'm still not sure how to approach these back-to-backs. The Portland Trailblazers -3.5 in Oklahoma City taking on the Thunder. Total is 235. So, Tyler, did you watch that game the other night?
You mean the fact that we had that game dead to rights and then all of a sudden SGA was out, then he played, then he hits the game winner on us?
I mean, that guy keeps coming up, man. That guy keeps coming up. I mean, the Thunder got a steal there in that trade. They got all those draft picks in Shea, and they gave up PG. They didn't want to be there. Unbelievable there. So how do we approach this, man? I'm still going back and forth. You know, like the playoffs, we have so many years of experience. We know how we want to approach the zigzag. I feel like I have a good feel for that. I'm still getting the hang of these regular season games. The projections like the Blazers in the first game, the projections like the Blazers again tonight. So here's the deal. When you're just running these projections like I do, and they run the back-to-backs, they're pretty much going to give you the same score. One game, especially what are we, what I say, 19-11, we're 30 games in. One game is not going to change that much stuff, right? So do we zigzag here? Do you think the Thunder win again? How do you approach these games? And what's like our general overall thought when we're doing these back-to-backs here? Because we have another one coming up on the schedule right after this one.
Yeah, I just play them all depending on how the games pan out the last time they played. Like, to be honest, OKC stole that win last game. It took a buzzer beater for them to get it. Mm-hmm. And now we're getting Portland at -4. I'm going right back to Portland. And I'm going right back to the performance doubles we were on in that game because we almost cashed them. Simon's 5+ threes and win +300. Him to score 24+ points and win +260. Lillard to score 30 and they win +215. I'll be on all three of those because I think they actually come out and they put it on this time. And I don't think there is a backdoor to where SGA can hit that game winner on them. He still have a big game because he is a great player, but I don't think they win this one.
Yeah. Chris, how do you approach these back-to-backs from a betting perspective, and then talk to us about DFS?
Really like that bet, Lillard 30 points and the win for, what was it, +250?
215.
Yeah, 215. I really like that a lot. I think, you know, they listen, OKC got a little lucky there at the end of the game, last game. You know, and obviously this is a back-to-back where Portland stayed in OKC, right?
Yep.
Like one of those double-header things, yeah. And plus, when I look at Portland, they grade out very well tonight. Love the Simons call. He grades out very well, dual eligible on DraftKings. He's 7,300. SGA does grade out very, very well tonight, though, per his salary and his projection on a point per dollar basis. And I think the general public will be going to him. And then Alexis, you know, I struggle with this guy's name, though, Puzveski or whatever.
Puzveski.
Yeah, Puzveski. Said it wrong again, but power forward center, 4,600. He will be one of the value plays tonight that a lot of people go to. Although I'm wondering, does he get in the starting lineup tonight, especially if Dort is back and Jalen Williams has played very well for this team, and then also Baisley. So I want to look at kind of what that lineup comes out to be, because when it comes to the rotation, you know, this guy Pujewski, it could be, you know, he plays 10 minutes or he could play, you know, 20+ minutes. So that's just scary for me, especially if the public's going to be on him heavy. But I think Portland handles them tonight. You know, they're somewhat a little bit more healthier now, especially if Josh Hart's in the lineup. It's just that full strength for this starting five. It's just a much better starting five than OKC. So I think SGA would have to really put this team on the back tonight in order for them to sustain it to be close. But I think Portland smashes here tonight.
All right. So Chris likes Portland. Tyler, love that prop. Nothing more from this one, right?
One other prop I like in this one, but it's also got to come with the Nurkic news. If he misses, give me that Jeremiah Grant over 4.5 rebounds. He had 8 last game against this Thunder team. If Nurkic is out, he's going to be right back in the paint, and there's no big man for the Thunder to eat up those boards. He could easily grab 5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, there you have it. So same situation here as the Dallas Mavericks. take on the Timberwolves. Tyler, that was one of my favorite bets on Monday. We took the Timberwolves plus the points. We also splashed the money line, which was a lot of fun. Now they run it back. I mean, of course, my projections are going to tell me to take the Timberwolves again. It worked for me on Monday night. What do you think?
I'm going to do the same thing. Give me the Timberwolves at the plus money. We want to fade this Dallas team on the road. Minnesota's shooting the ball very well right now. Ant looks great. Give me Minnesota spread. They're going to line this game right at the same again. All they have to do is stop Luka, and they won the game last game without Rudy Gobert in the middle. Now, he could play this game, and could they lose it? Yes, and that could be maybe not the deciding factor. The other big thing is Tim Hardaway Jr. missed last game. He's in here, so that's something to keep an eye on, but I'm still going to side with Minnesota. Give me Ant Edwards. I think they beat them up tonight, and that they're the underdog at home. Give me Minnesota.
All right. Tyler says take Minnesota again. Just go right back to the well. Spend those winnings on Minnesota again. Chris, do you agree?
Yeah, I like them. Money line, Minnesota. I agree. You stop Luka, or you at least just contain him to some degree. I think there's just way too much here for Minnesota, especially if Gobert plays. I think he just dominates down low. So yeah, give me Minnesota here from a betting perspective. I don't mind going back to the well there, especially the money line. And then outside of that, DFS, no one's really coming here outside of Jaden McDaniels. So that's really the only player that is getting even looked at. Everyone else is just very, very low single-digit ownership. The grading, looking at it, D'Lo and Gobert, if he does play, they look very strong. Christian Wood continues to get more expensive now, so you're going to have to ask yourself, what does that look like? Because he's 8,100, and it's going to be difficult, especially if he comes off the bench to pay that price point. And then Dinwiddie, I think you can, maybe look at 6,400. He does project somewhat decent, but outside of that, I mean, it's just really not as appealing as to other games that we can go to.
All right. Anything else on this one, Tyler, before we move on?
No, that was pretty much it for me on that one. I'm interested in getting to this next one if it's the right game.
Yeah,
the Magic
I know it's coming up. I don't know if it's the next one though.
Orlando, Houston.
Yep. Spread uses bookmaker, and their orders are always out of whack. That's why I gotta say maybe it's the next game.
Yeah, they are out of whack, but today they're in chronological order. We've been doing fine, so thank you for that. But I don't know why that happens. It's the rotation order that they use. That it's from Vegas or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out before I die. But let's talk about the Orlando Magic, who are -1.5 taking on the Houston Rockets. Tyler, two of our favorite young teams. Chris said that he loves this young Magic core. We love this young Rockets core. Now they face off. They're in Houston. Houston's a dog. Your thoughts?
I'm going to put this comment on the screen because I'm in full agreement. We talked about Orlando having a good roster. We like Houston, but this team's just not good right now. They had a couple good players. They can't play defense whatsoever. We faded them against a Spurs team a couple nights ago spread, and they got blown out. You think I'm going to back them against Orlando here? No chance. Orlando -1.5, better than night. It's going to be my best bet, spoiler alert. And then some of these performance doubles. Markelle Fultz has been playing great. 12-plus points, and they win +160. 15-plus points, and they win +255. Paulo to score 22, and they win +200. I mean, there's a bunch of ways you can get on this game. I'm definitely on Orlando. I think the Magic smash them. Love the Rockets, but no defense. Just a couple young guys. They're still a few years away.
Yeah, that Houston defense is bad. What do you think here, Chris?
Oh, yeah, give me the Magic. No defense on the Houston side. Magic have won of 6 of the last 7. They actually were just on a 6-game winning streak. They've got quality wins this year, too. They've beaten the Suns, the Mavericks, the Warriors. They've beaten the Celtics twice, the Raptors twice. They've beaten the Clippers. They got strong wins, man. And, I will say that Markelle Fultz is playing very well, especially, these last few games. He's kind of shown some glimpses of, what he's done before from a production standpoint. So, and he's cheap. He's 5,700. This game here, this could be a high-scoring game in a game that you can get a lot of pieces from. And, with the injuries to the Magic side, it just is going to give a little bit more opportunity and run to guys like Mortis Wagner with Wendell Carter out. If Franz Wagner misses, I think, this makes it super interesting for Banchero, for Fultz. And I mean, even guys like Cole Anthony, who is point guard, shooting guard, dual eligible. So be on the lookout for that Franz Wagner news, because at that point, I mean, that's just, more opportunity to both the guards, which I do love. And then outside of that, I mean, if you want to go to Alfred Sengun, I don't mind. He's 5,700. KPJ and Jalen Green, both 71 and 7,200, both rate out well. Ownership is going somewhat to quite a few of these guys, but the highest owned guy it's looking like is Tari Eason. I don't know kind of like how much I truly like that. It's just, for me, he's going to play his 20 minutes maybe. But like really what's his ceiling? Like this guy, like really all year has just kind of teetered in between like 16 to 19 fantasy points. For me, I think I'd rather go elsewhere. So maybe that guy I want to fade. And then I think one guy you can always kind of consider, it's gross, but it's not the worst matchup for him. If we can get those double-digit shots, he could possibly get there, but, it's tough for me to say this, but Eric Gordon, he's 3,500. If you think this game's just high scoring and Eric Gordon is just getting his 10-plus shots and he knocks down quite a few threes, he could pay off that price tag and he could be someone that is a low flyer GPP value play. So, but yeah, give me the Magic here from a betting standpoint and give me the Magic players, especially the guards when it comes to DFS. I think they're all in a great spot.
Tyler, it's tough going against our guys, but I think we're right tonight. I mean, I think it's the right thing to do. So, hey, can't always bet with your heart. We got to use the mind, and the team likes the Magic here. It's just crazy that that's one of our favorite spots, right? Looking at the board.
Doesn't it seem like more often, though, when we get these bad matchups, like of bad teams, it ends up being one of the better bets? Just because usually these bad teams, like you can kind of tear them off. It's like one's very, very bad. And the other one, you could see the life showing out of it. It's like, oh, they have the path to get good. I think that's what we have right here. Orlando's showing us that they have the path with the roster to be good. Houston's still kind of hanging around the bottom. I think you just smashed the Magic here.
I also think that the line might not be as tough because the handle's way lower on this game.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I think way more teams are going to want to bet, the Celtics or the Cavs.
When you pull up these games, the first one you see is Milwaukee, Cleveland.
Yeah,
everyone that makes all the same game parlays are going right to that game.
I mean, it's a great game.
They're going to have so much money invested in that one, in the Boston game, like you said. Guys will be all over that New York-Toronto game with the Knicks being good now. Yeah. The Brooklyn Golden State game will get some money, even though it's a big spread. Everyone will be on KD's props there. So, yeah, this Orlando game is going to go very overlooked, and we're getting a nice line on it.
All right, let's see if we can cash a winner on a game that's definitely flying under the radar. And with the team that's flying under the radar, the Orlando Magic, maybe they're turning it around finally. And, hey, give props to them. They did the rebuild right. My Kings, they've kind of been rushing this rebuild, but so far the results have been fun. Monday night notwithstanding. Boy, where's all the Hornets fans in the chat now? The Kings host the Lakers tonight, and this is fun because for us, the Kings, the Lakers are our rival. The Lakers, like that Mad Men meme where they got, I don't even think about you, right? I mean, that's how it is. For the LA Lakers, right? I mean, we're holding on to some 20-year-old things. I think most of these players were barely even alive when this rivalry was in full swing. So this game definitely means a lot to the team. I don't know about to this current team, but to the fans tonight. Still get some Lakers fans in our building, which is disappointing, but they are a nationwide fan base. Be interesting to see how that home court advantage plays out. The Kings are laying 5.5. The total is 239.5. The Kings are an over team for sure. I need to check though, Tyler. When I checked props earlier this morning, there was nothing up for the Kings. I wanted to place Sabonis rebounds, but he's still listed as questionable. So they didn't have any Kings numbers up, and I guess that makes sense because if he's out, that's such a hole in usage on both the points and the rebounds. LeBron James is probable. What a surprise. Harrison Barnes questionable. That's another big one. Austin Reeves is doubtful. And I hate to say it, but he means a lot to that team. If he misses, that's a big deal. Russell Westbrook also questionable. Juan Toscano Anderson will be out there for the Los Angeles Lakers. Tyler, my projections tell me to take the Kings. This is a great bounce back spot for us. We had the tough loss. Oh, Jonathan Nelson. What's up, Jonathan Nelson? Let's talk about the Vikings, Jonathan. Unbelievable. All right. What? I don't even know what Clyde's talking about. So, Tyler, can we bounce back? Can the Kings bounce back tonight? Am I going to see? I know it's cloudy. I won't be able to see it anyways. But will the beam be restored tonight? Or are we going to take another heartbreaking loss? And is the chat just going to be
I'm
just
not really
dancing on my
sure where our guy
grave.
Clyde got that take from, but really caught me off
I
guard.
mean,
with
he's
that one.
married. His wife's from Northern California. That's one of the reasons he wanted to be out here.
Yeah, but I'm taking the Lakers here, spread. You're going to hate me, but
You guys are
who's
killing
covering
me.
LeBron tonight? Keegan Murray? Like, there is nobody. I think he keeps it close. I'm not sure if they win the game, but plus 5.5.
Who's
I'm going to be on the Lakers here. I'm going to be all on LeBron's props. And once these Kings guys' props start to populate, I want
Father
Malik Monk.
Time's covering LeBron. Tyler, the dude's like 48 years old.
Yeah, he's still putting up numbers, so Father Time ain't doing very good.
I know, huh?
Yeah, so I want Malik Monk's props also, though, once those numbers come
He
out.
killed us. He was one of the big reasons we lost that other game.
Yep.
Him and Herter both shot terribly.
Yeah, well, he's bouncing back here against his former team, so I want his props if they're in the low teens. I could see him putting up a ton of shots here. He's a great guy off the bench, but I just don't see Sacramento blowing him out here. And you might be able to catch this number nice because, like, if Sabonis sits and Harrison Barnes sits, Westbrook plays, that number is probably going to be like 3.5 now. So I'm getting in on the Lakers now.
All right. Chris, what do you think about this injury report in this game overall?
Yeah, give me the Lakers money line. I think
This is fucking great.
I think tonight's a smash spot for LeBron. I'm just gonna say this: who's gonna guard him? No one. And if Sabonis doesn't play either, I'm not even really worried about Sabonis. If he does play, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, my biggest concern is if I just want Westbrook to come off the bench, and you know, hopefully he doesn't sit this game. But I will say LeBron's in a great spot. Lakers are gonna smash. Your Kings are in trouble spread. I'm just gonna say that. Herter can't make a shot to save his life. He's just played absolutely horrible. And outside of that, you know, for me, I just when I look at this, Lakers look better as of late, and I don't mind AD not being in this spot. You know, I think this is more of a, you know, situation for LeBron's full team. So give them to me money line. I know you hate that, but Lakers are winning tonight, man. I hate to tell you, and you know the public loves Thomas Bryant, LeBron James, Westbrook if he does play. Not much love outside, you know, to the Sacramento side. Maybe a little bit of Malik Monk is getting love, and De'Aaron.
I mean, if Sabonis sits though, right? A lot of guys have to be in play.
Yeah. I think, you know, if Sabonis sits, then that gives a huge usage and bump rate to quite a few people. And so, yeah, I think that'll definitely switch some things up, but that'll make me like the Lakers even more, to be honest with you, if Sabonis does sit. So, but yeah, I think LeBron he's in a smash spot tonight. His projection is outstanding in comparison to his price, and he's just popping up everywhere. So give me the Lakers tonight, man.
This is terrible. I just want to end the show.
Chris, did you catch the show on Monday by chance?
No, I didn't.
We get to the last game. Spread's like the Kings are playing the Hornets. He's all confident with his breakdown. He's like, we're smashing the worst team in the league. My initial breakdown was just when teams, fans that are bad for so long get all comfortable with winning, that's when the team lets them down the most.
You should know as a Knicks fan.
Yeah, that's why it felt perfect. We took the Hornets money line. And then Chris is just digging the needle in a little bit more, taking the Lakers.
I know,
so
man.
Perfect.
I'm already fighting off a cold, and now if we lose to the Lakers tonight, and Jonathan Nelson is victory lapping me, oh my gosh, the pain I'm going to be in. Chris, who's your favorite team?
I grew up a Knicks fan actually because I'm from New York.
Okay.
But I was on.
Wow, you're like a nice guy from being from New York. Most New Yorkers I know are so rude and abrasive.
I grew up in Florida, so like, you know, I was born in New York, but
okay.
I only lived there till like 5 or 6, and then I went to Florida. I was raised there, but I loved the Jeff Van Gundy days. You know, the 90s Knicks were like just elite. If you were a fan of the Knicks, but I'm a LeBron fan, so you know I'm biased. You know, I go where LeBron goes. So right now,
oh my gosh, you're a LeBron fan too?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Right.
I'm really.
He's my generation MJ, bro. Like I have to go where he goes. I gotta stay loyal.
I don't even have a comment right now.
Spread's like, I'm ending this show. We're not even doing the last game.
What? Oh my gosh! What a tough scene for me. What a tough scene. All right. Well, that's fair though, and that's fun. And you know, hey, maybe we can get the victory over our hated rivals. That you know. Tim Donaghy. I hate that guy. Charlotte Hornets are +8 heading to Los Angeles, taking on the Clippers. Total of 225. Tyler, the Hornets really hurt me the other night. Are they going to do the same to the Clippers fans tonight?
No, unless all these questionable tags for the Clippers sit, maybe they keep it close. But if you get Paul George, Powell, Zubac in, even Reggie Jackson in also, which Reggie, Paul George, and Zubac all practiced. I expect those three to be in. Maybe Powell sits. Give me the Clippers here. Kawhi is going to be in also. Hornets coming off a big, exciting win on that West Coast trip. I got to take the Clippers here.
All right, Chris. Tyler likes the Clippers. Who do you like?
Yeah, I like the Hornets, believe it or not. Hayward back and healthy gives it a little bit of a better dynamic. Rozier, I just want him to play in this situation. I don't know how much of full strength Clippers will be tonight, but I will say the +8 line is a little bit nice, and a lot of these guys grade out well for Charlotte tonight, believe it or not. They're popping, especially Nick Richards, 4K. I think a lot of people are going to go to. He's been playing really good off the bench. And then outside of that, though, LaMelo, Hayward, Oubre, all these guys are popping still. And then you have, Kawhi 7'9", which I don't mind. He grades out pretty fairly well, and Paul George. So those are like the only guys I think people will look towards in regards to DFS. But I will say, I think Charlotte, coming off a big win at Sacramento, I think they can keep the momentum going. The 8-point spread is just something where I think they can keep it within 8, to believe it or not. And, I think this Charlotte team is not as bad as maybe some think, especially with Hayward in the lineup. I really do like that. And Oubre coming off the bench is just, really a great scoring option for the second unit and a guy that can just go off too. So, give me the Hornets tonight +8.
Well,
guys
Chris,
in the chat just digging in more on your spread.
What'd he say?
Gonna need to dust off white chocolate to beat the Lakers spread.
I mean, literally one of the greatest basketball players of all time. I don't care about stats. I don't care about anything. He's really the reason Chris Webber didn't want to play here until he saw that kid in practice. And then he's like, never mind. I'm all in on this team. Like, I want to play with this dude. Like, it was so fun. You should have seen Sacramento, right? If you would have gone, right? I don't even know how old you were then, but if you would have gone to a local park or pickup game in 2002, everybody's throwing stuff behind their back, behind their head. I mean, it was the most fun. I was too. I'm not saying that, I wasn't in on it, but he was so much fun for us. And I'll tell you what, Chris, I hope that, I know you like the Hornets tonight, but maybe LeBron will buy a team after his NBA career is over. And then finally he can be better than Jordan at something relating to basketball.
You don't know how they already broke this all down spread?
What?
Bill Simmons always does this on his podcast. I know it's not the best sports related one, but every once in a while the dude will be like, I heard this through the grapevine. It's like normally these things are true. They do come true. He says the rumor is LeBron's going to play a couple more years, and once that Vegas team gets the expansion team, he's going to play 1 year there and then translate into the ownership part of it. So don't be surprised if that happens.
Hopefully it'll be like when Jordan was on the Wizards. Not a very fun time. What's so funny? His numbers really weren't that bad for being 40 years old. It was just we're just so used to him winning titles.
Who's going to be the Gilbert Arenas that just gets paid for saving them from the LeBron nightmare of those last 3 years? Who's
going to be the Kwame Brown that just gets bullied?
Yeah, that gets ripped apart. Yeah,
unbelievable too. All right, well, we made it through the whole slate, but we're not done yet. It's time for the best bets. Tyler, let's start with you. Best bet today: side total or prop?
As for a prop, give me that Tatum over 3.5 threes at +130. I think he lights that Indiana team up in that high total game. And then as for the side, I think we're all locking arms here. Give me the Magic -1.5.
All right, cool. I don't have to get knifed in the back for that one. Chris, what's your best bet today? Side total or prop?
Prop. I like the Damian Lillard 30 and the win for 215. Okay. Really like that a lot. I think that this is a good spot for him, especially in this matchup. And then my bet of the night is the +195 Lakers at Sacramento.
Hurting, just so hurtful.
I'm sorry, man. I gotta.
No, I understand. I gotta
go with what I see. I'm riding LeBron hard, and he's just it's just tonight's a night where Sacramento just hasn't looked good as of late, especially last game against Charlotte. So if they can't shoot, then give me LeBron to just take over this game, even at this age. So I'm going to Lakers. All
right, Chris, let's test your knowledge of your favorite player. Where was LeBron's first NBA game ever played?
Sacramento.
Oh, ding, 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 ding. Did you actually know that, or did you just figure because I'm asking tonight?
No, you spoon-fed that one to him.
No, I knew that. He had that crazy dunk, too. That's when he was playing.
Yeah. That was back when we were good. It was like, oh, we're gonna debut him against the most exciting team.
It was on ESPN, and it was a late night game.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. That was back when we were relevant. Maybe we can get back, but to do so, we're gonna have to beat the Lakers, Jonathan Nelson's favorite team. Hopefully, the Lakers channel Jonathan Nelson's fandom and pull Minnesota Vikings tonight and just absolutely break our hearts. All right, there you have it. I don't even have a best bet. I don't really like this board. I'm going to do the RPB tags with Tyler after the game. If you nail me down right now, though, we all seem to like the Timberwolves as well. So we'll go ahead and take the Timberwolves money line for my best bet. So Tyler had the Orlando Magic. Chris took Damian Lillard 30 plus and win for a nice plus money price with the Blazers over the Thunder. And then he put the knife in my heart and took the Lakers. I'm on the Minnesota Timberwolves. There you have it. This is the NBA rundown. Guys, I haven't done a lot of promo during this show. I didn't even see Richie Smalls reminding me to do my job. But hey, we've been here over an hour. We broke down this whole action-packed NBA slate. And enjoy it tonight because I just looked at tomorrow's. Tomorrow's slate sucks. So enjoy your – have you seen it?
No, I'm going to look at it now.
It's like Jazz, Wizards, and Spurs. Someone else. This is the Spurs. Someone cares.
Me and Kurt will be done in 20 minutes with these two games.
Yeah, it's all about the Jets, Jags tomorrow night, boys.
I can't believe that.
Speaking of that, did you see the injury news?
No.
What happened?
Walker out. Lawrence questionable.
Oh,
F me. I want to see Trevor play.
Wait, Kenneth Walker?
No, Trey Walker.
The edge rusher.
Oh, okay. I'm a big Jets fan, so I know they play tremendous D. Sauce Gardner's only given up one catch in half of games this season, but I think this is a letdown spot for the Jets D, man. I think Lawrence has been playing. I hope he does play because he's been playing out of his mind the last few games, but I think this is a high scoring game. I think Zach Wilson goes off against his pass defense as well, and that pass rusher missing is even bigger news.
I think that might be the hottest take of the day.
How much Nick Foles is playing on Saturday?
How much
Sunday?
what?
Or no, Nick Foles plays on Monday. How much Nick Foles you playing in Showdown?
Yeah, I'm not. We'll get there when we get there.
What team is he on?
He's starting for the Colts this week against Justin
Are you serious?
Yeah, they announced it.
Talking touchdowns is gonna be fun on Friday.
Don't forget your Christmas gear.
Yeah, I'm gonna be wearing. I'm just gonna throw a bunch of lights on.
I'm going to get a Santa hat.
There you go. All right, yeah, we lost a bet to Kurt, so we have to dress up because of the Baltimore Ravens. Unbelievable, taking L's left and right here. No beam in Sacramento. Got to dress up for Kurt. Unbelievable. But hey, we're doing this every day, Monday through Friday, guys. All we ask is for that thumbs up button. And I mean, we're doing this for you. If you guys want to win some money, head on over to runpuresports.com. Become a member for the best in DFS and sports gambling information. Chris, I was trying to think between coordinators and members, we've won 3 of the 15 millis so far this year, haven't we?
No,
is it 3 or 4?
They took down 3 in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I think 4 or 5, to be honest with you.
It's just unbelievable what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Tyler and I were talking about it. We're so lucky to be part of the hottest, fastest growing sports content company in the nation. It's just amazing what the team is doing. The team keeps growing, and we love these shows. I mean, having you on here, Chris, bringing a new perspective. You're down there in San Diego, living that great life. I mean, all of us are jealous in Sacramento. We don't have that weather. It's probably beautiful where you're at right now, right?
No, it's cold, man. It's 60 degrees.
Oh, it's 60 degrees. It's fucking 6. It's 6 degrees over here.
You know what's fun? It's like finding Waldo. Find a woman that's not attractive in San Diego. It's seriously so hard. I mean, I just don't even think they're allowed. It's like they have a border checkpoint. Yeah. So Chris is definitely enjoying life down there.
Yeah, it's a good spot, man. There's if you're a single guy, there's a lot of potential, man. Not too many value plays. It's just all studs.
You're paying up in San Diego.
Run the stars. Yeah, you have to pay up for them too. You have to pay up for them too. They have high standards, right?
Yeah, you're definitely paying up. That's for sure. There ain't no cheapies.
Well, we definitely enjoy having you on the show every Wednesday, Chris. And hey, even if you twist the knife in me, we're looking forward to having you back next week. Hopefully, I'll be able to victory lap you, though. That will be a fun one for us. Any words of wisdom before we sign off, Chris?
Happy holidays to everyone. Enjoy the holidays. Stay safe, stay warm, and hopefully we can get some more people to ship this weekend. There's a lot of great tournaments this weekend, especially for NFL. So finish out this year strong, because I think next year we're going to be disrupting the DFS industry. So looking forward to it.
All right, there you have it. Run.